Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi. To my right, the Swami George Abraham. To my left, the Tiger Albert Campman. And guys, this show marks our 18th year on the air here at Armstrong.
Yeah, that surprised me when you said that, Eddie. I had no idea. Fans, we appreciate you watching for 18 years, and all the producers, including Matt, put a lot of time in, and it's been successful.
Yeah, we're living the dream.
Absolutely. We love doing it. That's the best part.
It's good. And
it seemed like we just started.
Yeah, the great opportunities to cover high school sports and talk about
and
pro
what an area
sports
for high school sports, too.
Great area, and so many outstanding athletes, and the coaches, and the cooperation we get from the athletic directors and the coaches is fantastic, and always thanks to Armstrong for giving us this opportunity from 18 years ago. Well, let's start off on Spotlight, and you talk about a dynasty. How about the tennis dynasty that is at Knock? Senior twin sisters, Emily and Lindsay
That's
Greb.
a dynasty.
That's a dynasty. They won their second straight 2A doubles titles. They also won the WPIAL and state titles in 2021. They were part of the WPIAL and state titles in 2020 as freshmen. 2022, they helped the Lady Knights win WPIAL and state titles. Lindsay Greb and Allie Bauer won the WPIAL title in 2022. The Grebs are the first family of tennis. What a program they have there at Knox.
Absolutely.
Powerhouse.
Absolutely.
And in girls golf, Lahini Ranawera of Seneca Valley, she qualified for the states in 3A. Lily Shaw of Freeport, she qualified in 2A. In boys golf, Butler's Hunter Swedinsky qualified in states in 3A. And in cross country, Butler's Drew Griffith, Notre Dame recruit, set a new Butler cross country record in 15 minutes and 14 seconds. He broke the record of his former teammate, C.J. Singleton, who will be his future teammate at Notre Dame.
How about that?
Significant.
Elwood City in cross country rated 9th in the state. Has a great team. We'll see how they do in the meets coming up.
Hey, high school football week 6 leaders rushing. Ethan Pillar of Pine Richland, 57 carries, 302 yards in a 26-19 upset of Central Catholic. We do a Pine Richland game. They lose.
They just lose.
We did 3 straight games. They've lost all 3. Then after we do the game, they go on a winning streak. So I'm sure they want us there next year earlier. Get that one game out of the way so they can go on their winning streak. So here's what Coach LaDon did last year. We did the Seneca Valley game. They lost 13-3. Next week, he inserts Ryan Palmieri in that single wing tailback position. And they're off and running 11 straight wins, WPL and state. So what's he do after we did the NA game? They got obliterated 45-10. He takes Ethan Pillar, puts him back in that same position. They run all over Central Catholic. We didn't give him a chance, to be honest.
Somebody called him and said, "Coach, you know what works better? Put that single wing in again." It works like a charm.
Let's give the ball to our best run.
57 carries.
I heard
302 yards.
You went over that too quick.
Yeah.
Somebody who carries it 30 times a lot. 57 carries.
All right. And how about this kid, 6 foot, 205-pound junior, Elijah Palmer McCain of Elwood City, 286 yards rushing, 5 TDs. One of his TDs came on a pass reception. He had 357 total yards in a 62-40 win over New Brighton. The Wolverines 4-3 under second-year coach Dan Bradley. What a job he's done there. And a school record 653 yards of offense.
There was 1,100 yards in the game. I watched it. I watched it. It was like flag football. One team scored, the next team scored. Yeah, Elijah, I met him at school. I talked to him 20 minutes last week. What a great kid.
Evan Wright of Mars, 137 yards, 5 TDs, and a 56-14 romp over Kiski. Ben Miller of Wilmington, 202 yards and 3 TDs. George, he should be in 1,000 yards.
Oh, he's
already.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Kai West, Seneca Valley, 123 yards and 3 TDs. Second straight win for the Raiders, 42-13 over Hempfield. Jack Fennell, North Catholic, 124 yards. He had 4 touchdowns, 28-16 win over Hampton. In passing, Chris Smiley, Elwood City, 275 yards and 5 TDs. Wow. What an offense for the Wolverines. Is he a junior too?
They're all juniors. I'm not sure what grade he's in, I'm not going to say, but that's junior class is their class. And I said 1,100 yards in a single game.
Elwood struggled for so many years. You bring in Dan Bradley, and he's changed everything there. And the program is just uplifted since he's been there.
Yeah.
2 years.
In 2 years, right.
Jack Shaughnessy, Hampton, 178 yards and a touchdown. Luke Goodworth of Mars, 170 and 3 TDs. Caden Sarver of North Catholic, 139 yards. Brendan Sankey of Montauk, 138. Logan Kushner of NA, 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. Receiving, Brock Borgo of Hampton, 8 for 102 yards and a touchdown. William Hasselrig of Hampton, 5 for 88 yards. Dominic Hogue of Elwood City, 3 for 71 yards and 3 TDs. So they got athletes all over the place.
He's
there.
a sophomore.
Jason Sykett of North Catholic, 4 for 66. Gabe Hine of Mars, 5 for 64. Josh Kane of Hampton, 5 for 55. Kyron Boyd of North Allegheny, 3 for 51. He had 3 touchdowns, one of them a punt return for a touchdown. We saw him the previous week. And Jack White of North Catholic, 5 for 49. Let's go to our power rankings in 6A. It's Central Catholic at the top, no longer undefeated, 6-1, followed by North Allegheny, Canamac, and Mount Lebanon. In 5A, it's Peters Township, still undefeated, followed by Penn Hills, Pine Richland, Woodland Hills, and coming on strong after a rough start, Gateway. They started off, I believe, 0-3. They won 4 straight now.
Yeah, somebody said their 2 great players were coming back after they lost 3 games, and I said, well,
Birch, the quarterback.
So they're nothing. They have to be great because they went from losing games to winning easily. I mean,
and in 4A, Eloquip at the top, undefeated, followed by McKeesport, Montour, Thomas Jefferson, Mars in there at 5-2. In 3A, it's Belvern and Avonworth. I moved them up in the second place. They're 7-0. Elizabeth Forward 7-0. Knox 6-1. Mount Pleasant 5-2. And we'll see Knox this Friday. Armstrong will be there to do their game with Freeport. Knox 6-1. Previous 3 years they won 3 games. This is a little bit of a down year for Freeport. Normally they're winning 7 or 8 games every year, but it's a neighborhood battle. Freeport would love to come in and spoil their season.
That's public school for football. You know, there's no guarantee of what classes are coming through, and Freeport finally has one that's, you know, not as good as they've been in the past, and now the knock group must really be good.
And Freeport 2-5, but they lost like 3 games in a row by
they're never real bad. They're
touchdown
always right in there. You know that.
In 2A, it's Washington, Westinghouse 6-0. Westinghouse 36-7 over Butler. Their star running back Ty Abrams touched the ball 11 times for 148 yards. Still Valley, Neshannock, Mohawk, and Imani Christian. And in 1A at the top is Southside Beaver undefeated, Fort Cherry undefeated, Bishop Canevin, Union coming on strong, and Clareton at 5-2 in the bottom spot.
Heard Fort Cherry is really, really, really good.
I hear that, yes. Soccer girls, 4A, NA, they're undefeated, followed by undefeated Seneca Valley at number 2. In 3A, it's Mars undefeated. In 2A, North Catholic is number 2. In boys soccer, number 1, Seneca Valley, number 2, NA, number 3, Butler, and in 3A, number 1 is Hampton. Let's go to our stories of the week. I want guys imagine something. You don't know anything much about football. If I said to you, there's an NFL team that after 5 games is averaging 13 points a game on offense, giving up 22 points a game on defense, near at the bottom of the league in offense, rushing, passing, a defense that gives up 130 yards a game rushing, an offense that in 3 games only scored a total of 3 touchdowns. You'd say their record after 5 games would be
0-5, but I know who it is.
But not for the Steelers. You say winning ugly. They have perfected winning ugly. They beat the Ravens 17-10 in a weird and strange game where the Steelers had no offense for 3 quarters almost. It just Pickett, it was roll out right, roll out left. He looked very uncomfortable in the game, but I'll give him credit. He did come through in the crunch time through that touchdown pass that put them up. But Baltimore let Lamar down where they dropped 8 passes, dropped 3 touchdown passes. And then how about this decision by Harbaugh? I don't hear anyone talking about it. It's 10-3, 4th and 2 at the Steelers 25. He got the greatest field goal kicker in the world behind him. He doesn't use them. They go up 13-3 at the half. How big of a difference would that have been?
It's every week. I mean, it's every week I see it.
Somebody does it.
Some coach does it every week. That's a new thing.
Yeah.
I don't even get surprised anymore that they don't. They take the points off the board. They try to go. First downs.
That was huge to me. That was a huge difference.
Something I didn't hear that bothered me because I don't care for Beckham at all. He does his best work in warm-ups, one-handed. Yeah. He can't let Joey Porter intercept that ball. If he has to hug him, interfere with him,
I agree.
pull
But
his
that
helmet
was a terrible pass by Lamar.
Oh, I know. But I'm saying it can't be intercepted. You got to get the 3 points.
Well, when you bring that up, okay, you pass it. That play, what is a play that they called in 4th and 2 is a strange play. And so the Steelers average 2.9 yards a game rushing. You know what the Ravens average? 5 yards a pop, 130 yards. Why did they abandon the running game? Especially when they get down in the red zone. I'm not sure. I think Harbaugh outcoaches himself sometimes.
Well, the bottom line for me is, and it's the same thing I'll say all the time, they get the best coach in the league. That's why. Pittsburgh has the best. I'll say it again. Any other coach is 0-5 with what you hear what you just said.
I know what I said.
He lose. Any other coach loses that team. He's the best coach in the league. He's 3-2 with the team that they should be 0-5.
Yeah, and you wonder how far they're going to.
Oh, they're not.
They're going to go.
No, they get a chance. They can't beat the best team. Once they get in the playoffs, they're getting knocked out. But I'm talking about just being 3-2 with that team. Think about this.
When you go when they didn't score a touchdown against Houston. They scored 1 touchdown against Baltimore and 1 touchdown against Cleveland. Baltimore, really, I thought that game they were going to put up 27, 34 points in that game.
How many turnovers did Pittsburgh have in this game?
I don't think Pickett threw an interception.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
That they're after, they're telling them in meetings. Listen, we're going to win with our pass rush. We're going to make a play late in the game with our pass rush. Don't turn the ball over, Pickett. Throw it in the stands if you have to. That's the way they play.
I don't know the pass rush. Okay, they had 3 sacks. The Ravens had 3 sacks, something like that. But the drop ball, Zach Flowers, this rookie, and Rashard Bateman, how many passes did he drop? Didn't he? Was he the one that dropped the touchdown pass, the sideline pass, right through his hands? All right, but the big play of the game, it goes to Miles Killebrew on the block punt out of the end zone. Yeah. That makes the score 10-5. Then a field goal made it 10-8. And then Baltimore recovered that fumbled punt, and it looked like, wow, they got 1st and goal. And then Lamar threw that interception. If he's not open, you're supposed to just throw it over his head. Yeah, and the receiver's here and Porter's inside. The ball had to be thrown to the back shoulder.
Well, George made a good point.
To the
you got to at least kick a field goal, so tackle him, George.
Absolutely.
Pull his helmet off. They move it back 10 yards.
Right.
This kicker's good from 55.
There again, that changes the game. That makes it 13-8. But if he kicks the field goal in the first half, that makes it 16-8.
Yeah.
And the Steelers are out of reach.
Well, I'm giving the Steelers more credit. You're saying everything about the Steelers hang in there.
No, I'm not saying they didn't hang in there. I'm just saying to be fair about it, what Baltimore did was
I think Pittsburgh has something to do with it. That's what I'm saying. I don't think you give any credit to Pittsburgh.
I'm giving them. Well, the offense stinks. Let me just say that. They won, but the offense.
Eddie,
the offense
you don't like
stinks.
Pittsburgh. Just a minute.
No, that's not
true.
Eddie. No, I don't like what they're doing.
George, you think George?
No, Albert. I don't like what they're doing.
It's amazing. They're 3-2, and people are talking like they're 0-5. They're not 0-5.
It's the way they played that for how many years? Neds last year.
That's why they play.
All I'm saying is, Baltimore did their best to lose the game, and they did. Now, the decisions made by Baltimore detrimental to what they did. I didn't say I didn't like it. I don't like what the Steelers are doing. I don't like the offense. They talked about changing that offensive line. I'm saying to you, like
all the Steeler fans, they're 3-2 in first place.
They're 3-2, right?
That's all I want to say. If nobody saw them play,
I want to see where it's going to go. Okay, because I think you can win a division with 9-8. For the Steelers, their last 5 years, their average season is 9-7. So they should be in.
So they have a chance, right?
They have a chance.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. They have a chance.
But
you're making it sound like they can't play at all.
That's that's your interpretation. No. I'm just stating the reality of what I saw. Did you see what I saw in the game?
Who won?
They won. I agree.
You're focusing on the offense too much. Their offense isn't very good.
No,
But it's only 1/3 of the game.
but I want to know how far they're going to go.
Oh,
with it.
no.
That-
Well,
okay.
I didn't say to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, no, I'm not saying that. Okay,
No.
second place Baltimore. Cleveland's 2-2. They had a bye. Cincy 2-3 put a whipping on Arizona 34-20. Burrow 317 yards and 2 TDs. So that division's up for grabs. Around the NFL, Atlanta 21, Houston 19 after Houston had the big win. You don't like Desmond Ridder. He had 329 yards passing, 28
he had a
to
better game than he usually does.
He had the best game
did.
of his.
But he's no good. You understand? He had one good game. He's no good. I watch him every week.
How can he be no good and throw for 329
Because
yards?
there are
28
10
to
guys on the line
37.
of scrimmage playing against
Bijan
Bijan Robinson.
Robinson.
But I'm going to use your line. What was his stats? 28 to 37
Oh, he
for
played a good game that
329.
game. No, I said
No, he
he
did.
played very good that game.
Pickett hasn't even come close to having
Pickett's
a
way
game
better
like
than him.
that. No, he's
But
not.
give a running game Atlanta and Pittsburgh, and we'll see Pickett throw the ball. They can't run the ball. Pittsburgh
Well,
cannot run the ball.
I want to see Pickett when he has a game like that. 329 yards passing, 28 to 37. Hey, the Jaguars, they just want to stay in London for
They
the
do.
rest of the year. They beat Buffalo 25-20. I'm wondering now about Buffalo.
You put the curse on. You put the curse on
I'm
Jacksonville.
So
You said, "Oh, they're 2 weeks ago. They stink so
You
bad.
know what?
They won 2 games since."
Staying in London, I was talking out. There's something to that. People are going to look into that, playing twice there, but staying. They stayed, you know.
Yeah, Lawrence threw
Jacksonville.
for 315, and
Yeah.
ETN ran for 136
Yep.
yards. And elsewhere, how about the 49ers? They're a league of their own. 42-10 over Dallas. Just Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, and that defense and those linebackers.
That's the best team.
Wow, do they run the
But they'll get knocked
football.
out in the playoffs. That's the best team, and they get beat every year. I don't know how they get beat every year, but they do. Don't you think they're the best team, Eddie?
I think they
Oh,
are.
so
I
do
have
I.
them ranked there.
Yeah.
I think this could be their year.
They have a knack for getting their quarterback hurt. I'll say that.
Yeah. Now, let me say this. I remember growing up when the Yankees dynasty went down the tubes. When even the Dallas Cowboys after Landry, they went down. Hey, the Steelers after Noel, they went, 22, 23 years without winning a Super Bowl. Detroit Red Wings. And now you see this happening in New England. They lost their last 2 games by a score of 72-3. The Saints come in and pound them 34-0. After their years of dominance, 20-year run where they were in 9 Super Bowls, won 6 Lombardis, this team has no mojo. There's more energy and intensity in the Boston Convent than there is with this team. How could this collapse all of a sudden? Well, Mac Jones is just terrible.
Well, 2 things. 1, Belichick picked the players. And 2, you can't yank your quarterback every week. If the kid's that bad, get him out of there because he can't have any confidence.
And when you mention that, what they do in the draft, they don't draft any playmakers. I don't get that. Someone in their draft room has to say, "This is the guy we need to take." Juju Smith-Schuster caught 3 passes for 6 yards.
Yeah.
What will he be given the opportunity? Excuse me, to beat Shula's record, or you think Kraft will fire him by then?
You know what?
Kraft's talking like he's going to fire him. But,
Yeah,
you know,
I-
and it isn't like they're great friends either. So
I'm sure he's hard to deal with.
You know, you saw this with what happened with the Steelers with Noel. Then you saw with great George Hallis, they win the title in '63, and after that, the Bears just went down.
Landry's the
after
best
that.
example.
Who's that?
Tom Landry.
Tom Landry.
I mean, they
yeah.
got rid of him.
So I don't know I don't know who they're going to beat this year the way they're playing.
they'll come back. That's what always happens in the NFL. It's just when you write somebody off, they just check them off.
Especially when I write it off. Yeah.
But they did look bad the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
Man,
for sure.
they just look
64-0
terrible.
won it?
72-3.
Oh, 72-3.
They could beat 38-0,
Yeah,
34 to 38-3 and 34-0.
Yeah, 72.
All right, let's go to our power rankings. You guys jump in. Number 1, San Francisco. They are at Cleveland. Frisco by 3. Number 2, Philly. They're at the Jets. You know, the Phillies struggled in the second half against the Rams. Only a field goal in the second half? That was it. The Chiefs, number 3. They play the Broncos. They're favored by 10.5. Miami, 4-1. Detroit 4-1. They're at Tampa Bay. The Lions by 3. Then the Jaguars. Buffalo have dropped them down to number 7. They're going to get healthy. They play the Giants. They're favored by 13.
Oh, my.
Seattle 3-1. Here's an interesting game. They are at Cincy. Cincy by 2. I have Tampa Bay there at number 9, and I have Baltimore in at number 10. We'll see what they do this week when they play the Titans.
You're missing a team.
No, who?
Pittsburgh. They just beat Baltimore.
I know. I'll put them in there when I see a pro caliber offense. I'll put them in there.
They just beat Baltimore.
No.
You know what?
When I see a pro caliber offense,
I heard
I'll put them
about
in
3 games that perked my ears up for Sunday.
Yeah,
Some
didn't you?
small lines on the visitors.
Hey, let's go to college football. Number 10, Slip Rock University, 75.
Oh,
Mercyhurst,
Gene.
31. The Rock, 5-0. 469 yards of offense. Quarterback Braden Long, 224 yards, 4 TDs. Wide receiver Cohen Russell, 5 for 86 and a touchdown. Kyle Sheets, 6 for 54 and 2 touchdowns. Next up at Gannon.
Boy, I'm going to make a statement right now. See, I should be in the grave because that's not football. Did you tell me that? You're that score.
I know.
75 points in the game.
They
I'm
scored.
Eddie.
You know what the score was at the third quarter? Slippery Rock 34, Mercyhurst nothing in the third quarter.
75 points. Wow. That used to be a year of
Right.
8 games scored in one game, 75 points.
Hey, Grove City 6-0. They beat Geneva 48-21.
No letdown.
Yeah, All-American wide receiver Scott Fraser a knock. He caught 6 passes, 149 yards, and a touchdown. Next up, they are at Allegheny. Now let's go to Pitt. 1-4. They had a bye. They're home versus 6-0. Number 14, Louisville. Louisville pasted Notre Dame 33-20. Louisville's favored by 10. Narduzzi changes. Jacobic's benched in favor of Christian Value. I don't
Is
have
that guy any good, Eddie? You
I
know
don't-
anything about him?
He's a transfer from Penn State. He was
Okay.
highly recruited from Penn State. He played the one game against North Carolina. He was 7 of 18 for 82 yards, 2 interceptions.
Okay.
and
Played
a
one game
fumble.
at Penn State. Like they were on the road and one of the guys got hurt and he stepped in. I think he's a Canadian kid.
I think so. He's
Yeah.
a big kid.
He's not played enough at Pitt
Yeah.
to know, but you can't throw 2 INTs and a half.
Now, I don't have a problem with the quarterback change. What I'm questioning is you're moving Jacoby to tight end, 6-year senior. He's going to run pass routes. He's now going to block 300-pound linemen. That's kind of demeaning and embarrassing to me.
Well, that's what Narduzzi does. I mean, you know,
Okay.
He's what's he is a meathead, George? They call him.
And there was no reason.
Well, he's
to
no
announce-
quarterback whisperer.
And-
He's had one good quarterback in
and it was
9 years.
It was an accident. He didn't have anything to do with that. It was a guy, Whipple or whatever. Was
Yes.
that
Mark
too?
Whipple.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing is with Jacoby, what do you have to announce he's third string? Why?
You
Yeah.
have to.
Why would you say we're making a quarterback change and leave it alone?
But the worst thing he
Moving
did.
to tight end.
The worst thing he did. We're calling you out, Buster. He said I didn't make the decision. The offensive coordinator made the decision.
Yes.
Oh my God!
You understand? You
When
don't.
did he
Say,
mean it?
You're
you
the
don't say
you're
that.
making
You're the head
$7
coach.
million
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
He throws everybody underneath the
All right.
bus.
Now
Everybody.
here's the thing. Everyone at Pittman wants that was there. This guy got beat up. Okay, here's the difference in the records, the winning percentages.
Can't be much.
Wonstadt won 57%. Narduzzi 58. What's the difference?
There is no difference. That's
Okay, all right.
I'll just take a half a step. ACC's a little better in the Big East.
No, but that Big East back then you're talking about was Cincinnati, Virginia
I
Tech,
know.
Miami,
I know.
and that's when Syracuse was good with Paul
they had real
Pasqualoni
good teams,
and
yeah.
Don
Oh, yeah.
McMahon. It was a pretty
And
good
this,
league.
and this year, George, you're right. But the ACC isn't always this
No,
good.
it's good.
This year
Yeah.
is really good.
It
Yeah.
is.
Now-
Louisville might be 4th best.
We'll see what happens. Penn State, they're favored by 42 over UMass.
Oh,
Silence of the Lambs. 4-1 WVU. They're at Houston playing against former
Their
West
hands
Virginia.
full.
Dana
They'll have
Holgerson.
their hands full.
Mountaineers-
I saw Houston. They're not
Mountaineers by 3.
You go on the road in
Yeah.
any college game or really any pro game.
Yeah.
It's a change.
bad. That Big
And-
12. I'll tell you, when Central Florida is one of your worst teams, you have a good league.
Around the nation, Alabama 26, Texas A&M 20. Jimbo Fisher, overrated, overpaid. He couldn't beat Nick Saban if he had Alabama's players.
Well, I know this, that ever his game A&M should have won. It should have been this week. Because Alabama's not as good as they've been. I didn't say they aren't good, but they're not as good. No. And he couldn't beat them at home. He still couldn't beat them.
Oh, well, how about this one? Georgia Tech 23, Miami 20. Mario, no need, Cristobal, late in the game. But how many seconds were left in the game? 40?
No, you take the knee, the game's over.
Take a knee, the game. That's what you're supposed to do as a coach for your team. And he blew it. At that point, Georgia Tech threw the winning touchdown pass. Boom, boom. This is a Georgia Tech team that last week gave up 34 points and lost to Bowling Green. Bowling Green got pounded by Miami of Ohio, 27-0. You go figure.
Well, I just know that you cannot, and I mean that there's some mistake. We can talk about making decisions. Yeah, that's not a decision. No, you have the game won. You say, okay, we're gonna run to the right 7 steps, kneel, and the game's over.
Hey, and how about USC? The last 2 weeks, they beat Colorado 48-41. Then they beat Arizona 43-41. 91 points scored, 82 points given up. This week they're at Notre Dame. Notre Dame got whipped by Louisville 33-20. So Notre Dame for the 4th straight week will play an undefeated top 25 team and 2 top 10 teams, and they are favored. I'm shocked. They are favored by 2.5 against USC.
That's because Southern Cal just can't stop anybody. I mean, and
that big guy will run for 240. That big runner.
But I'll say one thing: you better score 35.
Yeah. You have to.
Southern Cal's going to
keep the ball from you.
They weren't ready for Louisville. There was no energy.
Ohio State let down.
And the Duke game took a lot out of them.
That Ohio State game took a lot.
Let me say this: Louisville's good. Louisville's good. Jeff Brom had a great game plan.
I put them on my list of overs. I looked; it was only 6 or something. I thought this is easy.
Hey, finally, I want to reach National Hockey League. It's opening night. The Pens open at home with Chicago. New GM Kyle Dubas, 3-time Norris Trophy winner Carlson with them. They're just so much excitement this year. Hoping Gensel's back healthy. They struggled last year. Their 16-year playoff run ended. So they're looking to be in the mix of things this year. I don't know that they're a Stanley Cup type team, but I think they're going to be much improved.
I know Matt, our producer's fired up. He's a big Penguin fan, so let's go Pens.
Hey, that's it for us. We run out of time. We'll see you next week.
High school sports, community events, all of your favorite local shows are calling the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel their home. Find out everything your neighborhood has to offer on Channel 100 or on YouTube. Spirit, town pride, local communities. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
My name is Matt Romeo. I've been at Armstrong for almost 9 years now. What I love most about my role as a lead tech is making a difference in my techs that I'm looking after, making a difference in their lives. I make sure that on their jobs, they have the help that they will need. There are so many opportunities to advance in this company. The training has been absolutely first class. Armstrong cares about our customers getting installed and serviced, but they mostly care about us going home at the end of the day.